Jacoby,
How y'all doing?
good man. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy.
Dude, thanks for doing this. We're getting ready for something called Bell Let's Talk Day. Are you familiar? Can I tell you a little bit about that if you're
Yeah,
not?
tell me about it, man. Tell me about what you guys are doing.
So it's been going on since 2010. It's raised millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars across Canada. Bell is partnered up with, like 1,500 different organizations to provide mental health support through it. But, you
Yeah.
know, beyond like the resources and the money raised, it's really about the conversations.
Yeah,
And it's exactly why we're doing this today. So thank you for being a part of it this year. And thanks for always being an ally for conversations like this.
absolutely, man. I think it's an absolute important conversation, that starts in the home, but we can take it into these spaces, right? Where it's we can help people just from a distance, and I think it's important, especially through music, is such a healing. I've done so much healing through music that I understand the power of that and also understand, just being there for somebody. Because I've had men in my life that have reached their hand out and picked me up out of some real dark spaces and helped me recover and get back to full fighting condition. You know what I mean? And so I've seen the highs and lows, and I understand the importance of it. So I commend y'all for doing what you guys are doing, man. I'm glad to be part of it.
Thanks a lot, man. And we're here to talk about Leave a Light On as well. And when you watch that music video, it starts off with a really cool message. It just says in text, talk away the dark. And that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. What does that phrase mean to you? Talk away the dark.
Oh man, it's like I just feel when I'm stuck in my head and I'm ruminating and these like loop negative self-talk conversations start happening, it's important to speak out and talk about what's going on, and I've found myself at different points in my life just spinning. And the thing that really got me out of that space was reaching my hand out and connecting with somebody. It's like isolation is a bad space, right? And it's like when you're depressed or you're not feeling right, that's where we go a lot of the time, is to isolate and disconnect from the world. And it's like I'm firmly believe, man, we are built for connection. I think there's so many healing properties in that. When you connect with somebody, you let your walls down and you are honest, and you got a safe space to express yourself. And I think it's important to like talk away that crazy, right? It's like let that stuff go. I used to do for a while when I was early in recovery years ago. I would do what's called morning pages. And I would, instead of talk away the dark, right? It was just like wake up in the morning, put my pen to the paper and write 2 pages, stream of consciousness, whatever's on my mind. And I would call it writing out the crazy. You know what I mean? And it was just like whatever was going on. It could be positive, negative, dark, twisted, messed up, whatever. Write it out, get it out. And I think that's important, man.
You know, um, when you're a rock star, you obviously have an outlet and you're so creative with your music, and you've had mental health themes in a lot of your albums and a lot of your songs. What is it like for you to have an outlet like that where, it's not a private one? You're not writing, words on a paper like you used to for yourself. You're doing that for the world. What is it like to have an outlet like that? And I think, Leave a Light On is a perfect example of an outlet that you've had with your mental health to show the world.
For me, it's just been like an anchor for me. It's like it's cathartic. It really and truly is. And as I set out as a songwriter way back in the day, I never intended to like affect people positively with music. I just was like, I just want to write music and do this. And then when I really started to let my walls down and be vulnerable in my lyrics and really express myself that way, that was when the music really started to connect on a deeper level with people. And as I traveled the world and met thousands of people through these years, and so many times people are like, man, your music has been such a source of strength and hope for me, and specifically with this song, Leave a Light On, as I grow as a man, as a creator, as an artist, as a husband, as a father, as a friend, I find myself at these crossroads in my life. And the latest one is peeling away the Velcro. My older sons are now leaving and moving out into the world on their own. And they've my one of my sons has had some pretty heavy battles um, as a teenager, and to watch him struggling through that and then him moving on his own, and just I needed to like write a song that just expressed that, like, hey, no matter how hard it gets out there, no matter what happens, no matter who good, bad, or ugly it gets, you need to know, son, like, I got you. I'm here for you no matter what. And that's just, that's a message that I had to send, and because it's tough to like let people go and into the world and go, it's life is crazy like that, and so I wanted to send that message and kind of find out so many people are just connecting with this message. And I think it's important, man, to reach out to your people, check in on them, if somebody's struggling, just be an ear. Sometimes that's what people need, is just to like have somebody just listen, sit there and listen, not non-judgmentally.
There's a live version of the song where you very beautifully at the beginning dedicate the song to your late friend Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Yeah.
You know, you can talk a little bit about your relationship with him over the years, and just what made you think of him, dedicating it live like that.
Oh man, what an amazing man, amazing creator, great human, just had a heart of gold, And I met him way back. This was like, shoot, 90 or maybe 2000 or 99. It was 2000. And I remember going, and I heard some of their music when they were Hybrid Theory before they popped off. And then I met them in Atlanta. They did a show and I went and watched them on stage. I was like, oh my God, these guys are they're the business. And we hit it off, and we had a good old time. We did Ozfest together. We took them out on tour in America, and we really clicked up. We were trying to get our wives pregnant at the same time. We had babies like a month apart from each other. And so Draven, his son, and my son Mikhail are like just like a month apart from each other. And so that really solidified a solid bond between me and that cat. And, through the years, we just check in on each other and see how each other's doing, and know that, we both had our struggles. I think honestly, for a little while early on in 2000, like I was running amok, and he was out there running amok with me, just partying. And we both knew at some point that life was over, and we both overcame those demons, through the years. And I commend him for that, and I just, it just hurts my heart to know how he went out, and, just the loss from, the fans, but most importantly for his son, like, God, it hurts my heart. And, but what an amazing dude that had such a massive impact on music and creativity and rock. And, he will echo through the ages, through his music.
I thought you guys did something really cool during, your fall shows with Papa Roach, where you were stopping down for a very important PSA, Jacoby, to, talk about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and a 3-digit number that people can call if they're up against it. Because when you are up against it, time is of the essence. It really is. How important. We just got this in Canada like a couple of months ago, 988.
Right on.
And it's finally here, and we're delighted to have it. But how important is a service like that, and a number people can call anytime?
Oh, it's absolutely important, man. I think, isolation is at an all-time high, and people are struggling, and people got to know that there are services out there, So is it 988 up in Canada as well?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So the number 988, it's like, pick that phone up if you're really in that spot, man. Don't be afraid. And just, there's going to be somebody on the other side of that line that's willing to listen and walk through this with you. And I think that just knowing that that's available is going to save lives, straight up. And in the show, we had this PSA during the show, and people just were locked in, and the DMs that we were getting from fans that were just, I mean, literally, like, we saved people's lives on that tour. There were like multiple people that were like, I was going to, take my life. And I decided it's time for me to get help. I need to get help, and just that alone, like, mission accomplished, even if it's just one person. So people need to know, man, there is help out there. And that's like, thank God that we've made that turn, and are looking out for each other. I think for so many years, it's like, you got to man up and like just buckle down and handle it. And like, there's times to do that, right? But then there's times also to go, hey, like, enough's enough. I got to stand up for myself, and just, I need help, and that's a hard thing to do for anybody in this world, right? To just say, like, I can't do this on my own. Like, there's a lot of humility and pain in that. But, I've found in my life too, man, it's like those points where it's like, I feel like I got to make that change. And sometimes that pain that I've walked through was absolutely necessary for me to see like what I can endure as a man, and also what I can recover from, what I can get through, and so I've learned a lot about myself through times of struggle, and so sometimes these times are necessary, although they are painful.
Jacoby, I thought it was so interesting that when you came through Calgary, we got to see you and we had a bunch of fans come up and meet you. And one of the big things that they were echoing to us was Papa Roach saved my life. And you can hear that from a lot of bands and the fandom that bands will get. But I really think that they meant it when they were saying Papa Roach saved my life. What kind of pressure does that put on you as a songwriter when you're like, oh, maybe I make like a party song or something like that? But then you do kind of need to write songs that are going to make people feel something like you did with Leave a Light On. Is there a different kind of pressure when you're writing nowadays, knowing that you have such an effect on your fans?
Sometimes I'll think about that pressure, and then I just have to realize like what the fans appreciate about Papa Roach is the authenticity. And I think if I can maintain authenticity, whatever road we're walking down creatively, I think we can pull it off. I mean, dude, I'll write a party song. You know what I mean? Because life is to be celebrated as well, But I think it's important to just, I think authenticity is the marker for me. And if it rings true with who I am and where I'm at and what I believe in and what I'm about, then it's going to connect.
I thought you said something interesting as well when you were talking about your son and some of his struggles and your own struggles. And I've got young kids as well. And, mental health has come up with my 10-year-old in the past. There's going to be a lot of parents that are listening to this, having children that are going through it right now, in a different time like this. How would you suggest, parents talk to their kids about mental health from your own experience?
I mean, for me, it started at a young age with my boys and just being open and talking about everything and just letting them know that like we got to talk through these things, Bubba. We can't like just, you know, bury these things. And I think I really started to see a change in my son when he was an early teen and COVID was locked down and he was isolated and wasn't going to school. That was kind of like the beginning of his struggle at that time. And he just got real depressed and dark. And I'm like, Bubba, like, what's going on, man? And I kept just pressing in no matter what. I wouldn't allow my son to just shut down around me. I'm like, we gotta talk about these things. We got to work through these things. And me and my wife back in the day, we did some therapy together, individually and together. And then there was a point when Jagger was like real young and we did some therapy with him because we were kind of having a tough time. He was like a toddler that was just like gnarly. And years later, we suggested to my boy, I was like, hey man, are you up for trying some therapy? And he was just like, I'm all about it. And he went to therapy and I saw the lights start to come on again in my son. And she gave him some tools that he was able to like utilize and understand. All right, when things are getting crazy, it's like, I can't isolate in my room and just shut the door. It's like, I got to get out. Physical fitness is a big thing that I've benefited from, as well as my son, getting out there, getting the sun on your face, eating the right food, not letting all the what garbage are you letting into your mind and what garbage are you letting into your body? That affects us as well. And so he's really cognizant and mindful of those things now. And, he's learned a lot and, he's been able to endure some heavy things, man. I mean, just this last year, our friend that was our family therapist, she had passed away, and that was like a real big hit to all of us. And my son, that was a loss. That was a heavy loss for him. One of his early, losses in his life that really affected him. And he was able to like walk through that and kind of understand and process the pain and not just bury it. And so those things in therapy that he learned, he's utilizing it. And yeah, man, it's like, it's trippy, these things we learn as parents and as, providers for our kids. And man, I will go to the end of the earth for my kids, no matter what,
Is part of that gratitude too, Jacoby? Is the lesson gratitude, as you're having those conversations with your kids? Because you're all about it, man.
Oh yeah, gratitude is like, that's the medicine half the time for me. It's like all these little things that I've added into my life to be able to like just keep a positive outlook, and gratitude is paramount to that. I think it really reframes my perspective each day. It's something that I've been doing for years now, and it is the medicine because it creates a new perspective on where you're at in your life. No matter what's happening, you can like pause for a moment and go, all right. And sometimes it could just be the basics that just reframe you. It's like when I hit that light switch and that light comes on, like, that's dope. Like, don't forget that. You know what I mean? Like those simple things, those modern conveniences that we can just like totally overlook. Like, sounds corny, right? But sometimes it's just those simple things that we need to look towards to reframe our perspective.
One more from me. And just in the spirit of leaving a light on, the three of us just had a really cool conversation about mental health. Three dudes just talking about it. Like we talk about anything else we were going through, or anything else we really believed in or felt passionate about. There's going to be guys that hear this conversation, who might have those conversations at a sporting event or on the work site or in the car or whatever it might be. How important are these conversations for guys to be having just like this? Because as men, we can be terrible about talking about something like this.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, suicide among men is higher. It's like 2/3 higher than women, and I think part of the history of being a man is to like, just buckle down and handle your business and be a man. And you can do that, right? But it's also like, I think being an evolution of masculinity, I've found is like to be tempered, right? But then also to be able to be vulnerable and be in touch with my emotions and my feelings and understand them and don't let them rule me, and put those feelings and emotions like in check. And I think that when I came to that point where I was able to let my walls down and connect with somebody else and really be vulnerable and honest, was like, that's where I found some serious growth, because I had a lot of some traumas and just some demons from that echoed from my childhood that I, just wasn't willing to open up and deal with. And once I started to do that, that's when I experienced some growth, So I don't think it's, you got to take away the stigma of it's not manly to be in touch with your emotions and your feelings. It's just, don't let them rule you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that I've really understood in my life is, when I just react on emotion all the time, it's like, doesn't always serve me well.
Well, Jacoby, I think man, how much these conversations are going to help people and your fans and our listeners. So thank you for spending a couple of minutes here talking about mental health and men's mental health, and on a very special day like Bell Let's Talk Day for us here in Canada.
Absolutely, man. I'm all about being of service to my fellows, and my people out there. And so thanks for allowing me to be part of the conversation, man. I really do appreciate it, for real.
We're grateful for you. Thank you.
Yeah, back at y'all, man.
Amen.
Thanks, buddy. See you next time you're through Calgary, man.
That's what's up, man, for sure.
Okay. See you, bro.
Thanks, dude.
All right, guys. Thank you.